Hi, I'm Tyler.
I'm Ross.
And we're here to talk to you today about how stupid driverless cars are.
They're kind of stupid, but they're not that stupid.
I mean, I don't know. Like, we've seen Google has their driverless car on the road.
Don't get me wrong, it looks ridiculous.
Yes.
It looks terrible.
Well, the thing about it that is promising to me is it's gotten, like 1 million or 2 or 20 million, some crazy number of miles on it. And it's had all these accidents, but every single wreck has been a person's fault and not the driverless car's fault.
Well, pretty much 90% of drivers are terrible. At least that's what I feel. I think you're also agreeing.
Yeah, I'm in agreement on that one. Like, I think that it would probably be a good thing if there were 10% of drivers on the road compared to what are today. And I feel like a lot of drivers would actually prefer to not have to drive anymore. Like, they drive because they don't have a choice.
Well, there's a combination of drivers who like to drive and then drivers that are just, I gotta get somebody.
Yeah.
I gotta get somewhere. I gotta get somewhere with somebody, whether it be going to soccer practice or going to work.
Yeah. And, you know, we're going to get into a little bit more of this, but I think the first topic is, okay, are driverless cars a real thing? Like, are we going to see them take over the road eventually?
So my prediction is we got driverless car 10 years away, and then we're going to have dedicated lanes specifically for driverless cars in about 25 years.
Okay, what do you mean by 10 years away?
10 years away, meaning that someone's going to be able to walk into a dealership and be like, I will take this one. And then for 80% of their driving, they don't have to really drive.
Like, in 10 years, how many driverless cars do you really think are going to be on the road?
Not very many. But that's when you're going to be able to buy one. That's when you're going to be able to buy one. It's like a Prius. Like, how many people bought Priuses the first year?
So you think it's going to be 10 years before we even really see them at a dealership where you can buy it?
Probably. Just like the software. Now, that's not when you're going to be able to see them on the road. They're going to have trucks with driverless sooner than later.
That's crap. No way.
Well, they're already talking about it.
You're just absolutely wrong on that. There would definitely be cars before there's like big rig trucks that are driverless.
Why? Big rig trucks literally, they just long range trips instead of having to have someone there all the time. Just get in that right hand lane and just keep on trucking.
I think my response to that is 3 words. It's the truck driver union. Like, they're going to fight that tooth and nail because that's like the end of their job. And it's going to take a while for that.
Well, maybe they'll start off by doing like drone trucks where they like drive and they'd be in like, well, I'm going to go in my driving room, Lois. I'm going to be driving today.
Like remote driving?
Yeah, or maybe remote driving to start out with.
I think that's even worse than autonomous driving.
Probably worse.
Because all it takes is you like driving over a hill in Kansas and you lose your cell coverage and your truck just starts veering off the road.
You got Chuck who's like, let me check my blind spot. Oh wait, I'm in a room instead of in a car.
Yeah.
And
then you're done. But, so let me back this up a little bit. Because first, I think 10 years away, I think that's a long ways away. I actually feel like, and I know we were talking about this earlier, I think you're going to start seeing a driverless car option a lot sooner. Like, maybe even 3 or 4 years. But it's going to be in the super high-end car.
Well, so what is it going to do? Is it going to be on freeways? Is it going to be in streets? Or is it going to be like parking assist crap that we've seen before?
Yeah.
So it's going to be the super high-end cars or like Tesla or whatever, all those different places doing those electric things, like making it high-end. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, so Tesla now has the new like firmware update that basically drives the car for you as long as you don't have to turn. So it'll drive, like, once you're on a road, it will stay on the road for you, which I feel like is version 1 of that. And I would be shocked if by next year, like Mercedes and high-end like Toyota, Infiniti, you know, the high-end Nissan and Lexus, if those cars don't have similar technology in them where, you know, it does everything but turn the car for you and like get out into traffic for you. So it feels like it's not that far away.
So I think that's a good thing, but then when you get full autonomous cars, it's going to be like a whole nother level. Because autonomous cars means like I have 20 minutes or however long my trip is to figure out what I want to do with those 20 minutes. Yeah. If it's like I can't pull out into traffic, I can't take a right turn lane, I can't do that, I really don't have an autonomous car. It's really like, okay, my car's really good at staying within my lane. Oh, you
Yeah.
can't see me. I'm pressing the gas button right there.
Yeah.
I'm going gas forward, and that's about it. I guess it's gonna be one of those first step things, but it's not gonna be like something. Oh, I want to get that Mercedes because it has the ability to accept a straight lane.
But let's think about this. Most of the time you're in your car that you want your time back and you don't want to be driving is when you're sitting in traffic on the way home or the way to work, and you're just going in a straight line. Most of that time, like out of your hour commute, you might have to turn twice. And the car can yell at you like, "Hey, Ross, put down your Game Boy, turn. Like, your exit's coming and I can't do this for you." At least for a couple of years.
Put down your Game Boy, Russ. It's time to get into the real world.
No, I would probably...
So wait a minute. Are you saying that the autonomous car voice of the future will be the HAL 9000?
No, it's going to be a lot more nasally. It's going to it's time to put down your Game Boy, because if it's HAL, you're going to fall asleep and be like, I'm not waking up. It's going to be really annoying and nasally. Siri is helpful. The autonomous car is going to be like, hey, you need to wake up. That's what the autonomous car is going to be.
Plus, HAL 9000 would just try to kill you constantly. So it wouldn't wake you up. It would just drive you into a pylon.
First of all, it wouldn't be constantly. It would be like once. It would be once.
It only has to succeed
How
one
would
time.
you be like, gotcha. And it would like communicate with those autonomous trucks and be like, gotcha.
Bam. Real life Mad Max.
Real life
not
Mad
in the
Max.
desert. Not post-apocalypse.
Any chance I can get like a flaming guitar action going on? Just like the autonomous car's like, we have to have one person. The person just decides like, no.
What if that's the former driver of the car? Is the guy playing the flaming thing on front? Like that could be it.
Well, I think that's just a natural progression of things.
That could happen. So, all right. So you do think? So I think that we're gonna, because they're already starting to introduce this stuff. I think 5 years we'll see either Tesla or maybe like a high-end Lexus or a high-end Mercedes that has a full autonomy mode. But I agree with you. I think for me at least, I think 10 years is when you'll start to see them enter the entry-level market. Like, you'll start seeing like a Kia and a Hyundai and a Ford Focus that have autonomous driving modes.
You know, Kia's making like $50,000 and like $80,000 cars now.
Yeah, but people buy the $10,000 cars.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's all about the volume, right? You got to get the cheap stuff. And you got to get them on the used market, because that's where it really is. Like, once autonomous cars are on the used market, then it'll blow up.
It's going to be really expensive to start out with.
Yeah.
There's going to be a couple brands that really just rock it. It's probably going to be like Honda or Toyota or something like that. Honda's just going to get in that game and be like, please have your time back. It'll be great. Spend more money.
Yeah.
And it'll be a hybrid, and it'll look terrible.
So it'll
still be expensive, because the Prius was expensive to start out with, right?
But this is a big question.
Wasn't it like 40 grand?
Do you really think... I don't think hybrid and autonomous are going to go together. I think they're going to put autonomous first in high-end cars, which might be hybrids. Like, Tesla definitely will get it. But I feel like the value cars, it's going to be gas autonomous cars. Like, there's just... Electric and hybrids cost too much. There's too many compromises. Like, a guy who buys an F-150 truck, he'll buy an F-150 autonomous truck. He's not going to go buy a Toyota Prius.
First of all, I don't think the F-150 is going to be like one of the first ones to come out. There's not going to be like this burly lumberjack man. It's like, just need more time to play on my Game Boy while I'm heading off to the job site. I don't know, maybe.
No, but he might be saying, I'd rather watch SportsCenter on the way to work. I'm just saying.
We're rocking out some real big stereotypes right now. I like it.
I mean, if I could, I'd be watching SportsCenter on the way to work.
You know what's terrible? I've done it before. I've watched Netflix on the way to work.
You should not say these things on camera that we're putting on YouTube.
I made a huge mistake.
Wait, you mean you watch Netflix and ESPN while you're on the bus?
On the way to work. Xfinity to go.
While you're in your carpool with another person driving, right? Yes. Because we would never do that if we were actually driving.
Absolutely not.
But people that drive trucks read the internet, watch video, YouTube.
I like how people say read the internet now. It's like, it's not like I went on the internet and read an article. You just like, I'm just watching the internet, reading the internet.
I mean, could you imagine? I feel like also with autonomous cars is going to be the advent of every car's windshield also turns into being like a 42-inch screen.
Just a big old HUD.
Yeah. No, not a HUD. Just a screen.
Oh.
So that I can like browse Reddit while I'm being taken to work in the morning.
Just watching cat videos.
Yes. Exactly. I need cat videos like taking up
I
my
need
entire
minimum
windshield.
10 minutes of cat videos on the way to work. Or else I'm
Calms
just
you
going to
down.
get frustrated.
Yeah, calms you down.
I got up way too early this morning. I need some cat
And see, it would be great because then as you're going to work, you can look next to the cars on either side of you, and which are also autonomous in this 10-year future, and see what cats they're looking at. And maybe you could have like, you could share. So you could be like, hey buddy, what cat video is that? And he could share it with your car.
Now, there was a science fiction story that literally talked about the advent of autonomous cars, and what they would do is that literally you couldn't get in your car unless you had a destination. Like you couldn't just go driving because everything was autonomous. So there was a combination of, I'd like to just press a whole bunch of buttons. So it was like, oh, you want to hang out? Maybe we'll just drive a car. Woo, woo, let's see where we're going. Maybe we'll have a picnic in the car, stuff like that. Do you think that's going to happen? People are just going to go sightseeing and stuff like that?
I think that'd be solid. I mean, I definitely have done that before when I'm not sure where I want to go. So I just pick somewhere like roundabout near it, and then as I get close, I'll like pull over and reroute or look up somewhere
What
else.
if you didn't have to pull over? You actually were able to take a good shot with your camera because you could roll down the window with both hands and hold your camera so it doesn't fall out the freaking sky.
I think that'd be brilliant. But, all right, we got to come back here because you were talking about hybrids and I'm talking about gas. Like, I don't know. I feel like a gas car that's autonomous, I think it would benefit the world more to have autonomous cars in gas than to wait another 10 or 15 years before electric cars are cost efficient for everybody to actually afford.
So are there more cars that hit up highways or more cars that are in urban areas? I think that's going to be the selling point of people.
See,
the hybrids can be able to be more cost effective and actually give people really good gas mileage if they're in those windier urban areas versus like I got to go really, really far. Gas is cheaper.
So this is where my views start to diverge with yours a little bit, I think, in that I think that people don't buy products, and especially cars, based on what they actually use. They buy them based on what they think they're going to need once in a blue moon, and they don't want to be stranded out in the middle of nowhere. And I don't see... I mean, I'm sure electric cars will eventually get there, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Hey, remember those commercials that had this car can go 500 miles, you can go this road trip to this road trip. Do I ever do that? Not really. Are there gas stations in the middle of that? Yes, there are.
Right.
Do you really need it? No. Do still people buy that stuff? Yes.
Absolutely. Like, that's the reason people buy giant SUVs and huge pickup trucks, even though most people might haul like a plant once a year.
It's soccer practice, so I better have my huge Range Rover. I gotta get over those hills.
Exactly. People are going to buy the trucks they're going to buy. They're going to buy the cars they're going to buy. And I feel like if manufacturers wait until electric is ready to put autonomy in the cars, that's going to be a long time for no real purpose.
Well, which one's going to be there first, electric or autonomy?
Oh, definitely autonomy. I think electric, for most cars on the road to be electric, I think we're 20 years away from that, easily.
Yeah.
Just because I don't see batteries getting that cheap soon enough. Like, even if...
Or even car manufacturers want batteries to be that cheap.
Yeah, like they're going to milk electric cars as being a premium vehicle option for a long time because that's one of the last few like technological advancements they can milk, except for autonomy. Like, I think if you were going to buy like a Honda Civic tomorrow, let's say, all right, if the base model, let's say, is $15,000, and you can pay an extra $4,000 for an autonomous version, I think a lot of people would buy that.
Like, so what are the costs involved in there? You have the computer, but really it's like a program, so it's not like something that needs to be updated all the time. So it's like a one-time cost, or is it something that needs to be updated a lot?
I think it probably would be like updates. So you'd need like the like LTE modem in the car. You need all that stuff so you can download firmware and do
Your car needs to restart to be able to upset this new firmware. Yeah. Well, except in 4 hours? No!
Well, that's the beauty of it, is it can just wait, right? Like if it's autonomous, it knows when it's turned off and it can be like, yo, download the update.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I think they'll get that figured out. But I do think, like, I think it's an easier sell to the general public if you say, look, you're not giving up range, you don't have to change your driving habits or your refueling or anything like that. Like, you just have this new option where you can drive or you can let the car drive.
So you're saying sedan, expensive, gas, autonomous, that's the first one.
So I think the first one will definitely be the expensive sedans. So like the BMW like 7 Series.
Ultimate driving machine.
The Teslas, the high-end Mercedes of the world, the Lexus, the high-end Volvo, high-end Audis. I think those are all like the Audi A8, A10, those guys.
Trucks. That's what I believe. The first autonomous car is going to be on there. Trucks.
So that...
And they're going to run into a couple people. No, I'm just kidding. They might run into a couple people, but probably not. No. And be just fine.
So I agree with you, and the most, like, impactful cost advantage, like, savings place you could put autonomous vehicles would be for, like, long-haul truck drivers. Definitely. I'm sure it would be more safe. It'd be way more cost-effective. You could get packages to their destinations more quickly and more predictably. But unlike individual drivers don't have a union. Truckers have a union. And I think truckers are going to fight that tooth and nail. They're going to find any possible reason, like safety reasons, performance reasons, like any reason they can to be like, oh, you shouldn't put it in commercial vehicle first. It should be, it should be in retail.
Well, what about those same people that were like, they shouldn't have autonomous cars on the road, and Google just went out and didn't tell anybody, and was just like, oh, by the way, it's been a year, and we've only been run into.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I agree with you in that I think they should do trucks first, but I think it's going to take a startup like Uber. Like, it's going to take a new business in the trucking industry that comes out and all they do is autonomous.
What about Uber Autonomous?
So that's another
autonomous.
Like if you're going to do trucks, why wouldn't you replace all the taxis and Ubers in the world with autonomous vehicles first? I mean, that seems like a very natural replacement.
Take your card when you're in there.
Yeah.
Do it all on an app. Can't really dispute.
Done.
Maybe there'll be fresh water. Probably not. No.
I mean, if I was Uber, I would be like buying Google dinner every night. Buying them nice cases of wine, bringing flowers to work, because their biggest cost is paying the driver.
Well, would their biggest cost be then buying cars though?
Yeah,
that's another ball game. Like I don't know how exactly taxis do it. Taxi companies buy the cars and then they rent them out to people, right?
I think it's a mix. There's like independent taxi operators and that kind of stuff. But
then is a taxi company going to be a car company? Maybe Ford decides to get into taxis. That's true. I think it would, like, forget Uber. It's just like, hey, Tesla is now the biggest autonomous, or this car
Toyota.
Didn't sell last year.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it on the road as an autonomous vehicle until it sells.
Yeah.
This car's been through, it has 10,000 miles on it, but it's only been used in autonomous driving. It hasn't been used by some crazy Tom, Dick, or Harry that's on the road, and it hasn't been any accidents because we have sensors for all of that.
I think you might have just hit on a jackpot goldmine there. It's like, what if every car that's autonomous enabled on the car lot is a fleet vehicle that's just for hire until it sells to an actual person? That's not a bad... Hey, Ford, GM, Tesla, Toyota, if you implement this guy needs to get a check in the mail.
You can
just buy me some chicken nuggets or something. He
does like he likes nuggets. I go with the dollars.
But I do think, all right, so if you're going to do trucks, I think it's got to be either like a new business or it's got to be somewhere that there's so few drivers that you don't have to fight against a huge union or a huge network of people losing their jobs at once. So
what's going to happen is it's not going to be everyone at once. It's going to be that creepy, just a couple, and then a couple more, and then a couple more, and then San Antonio's taken care of, and then Dallas is taken care of, and it's just going to overreach. Just like those, maybe there's going to be autonomous dedicated lanes. There's just going to be a couple different places, just like they had the plug-ins for the electric cars. There's going to be a couple places and then a couple more, and then a couple more, and a couple more.
I don't think it'll work that way. Because long haul truck drivers, it's not like you drive in a city. Like you're going like across the country.
Well, what if it's like air travel? Like you have hubs. You got Atlanta, you got Dallas, you got Houston. You got Chicago. You got all those different areas that can be just destination places, and then just like distributing networks besides that. I don't know.
No, I think all right. So I think if it's the first, like the best place to do like a trial run of this is going to be like Australia, where you got the land trains of like 17 cab or 17 trailers behind a truck.
Now, are you talking about land trains like at Disneyland, or are you talking land trains as in I am driving a 48-wheeler car?
Yes, the latter.
I apologize.
Although, let me tell you, automated Disney trains sounds phenomenal as well. I think that would be fantastic.
Please don't go through like creepy areas, because that would be like super creepy. It's like, where are we going? Like a Willy Wonka one. It's like, we don't know when the train is slowing.
But so for anybody watching who doesn't know about this, like in Australia, land trains are, or at least in parts of Australia, land trains are pretty common because they don't have a lot of rail infrastructure, and they also don't have a lot of waterways in the center of the continent to get goods out there. So they have these freaking tractor trailer trucks that are carrying tons of trailers behind them. And I can imagine, actually, a long-haul truck driver in the U.S., at least you're, like, doing stuff. Like, you could stop at truck stops, and there's other people to talk to, and you got CB radio.
Isn't like 98% of Australia, something like that, like, around the first, 50 miles, and there's a lot more of Australia besides that.
I'll bet you the Australian long-haul truck drivers would be a little less like, oh, darn, I don't have to drive 20 hours before I see another person. Oh, shoot, I get to go do something else.
I don't know any of these guys are like, oh, shoot, now I don't have a job, but they're definitely not going to be like, oh, I'm so happy that I have to do this crazy work.
Yeah, maybe those guys will be the first to go. I don't know, but I think that is a great idea long term, and man, it will be crazy. Like, and you bring up a good point with the whole, like, the manufacturers producing the car, the autonomous fleets, and replacing Uber. Well, if that's if they do that, why would you even buy a car at that point? Like, what's the point of buying a car if all it's going to do is the same thing that...
So let's talk about leases versus buying. I think leases are kind of crazy unless you got a ton of money and you want the newest thing, period. That's just not the case for me.
But would you even lease it?
But that's
just do the
case.
Uber stop.
Well, if you lease it, then you don't have to worry about maintenance. Literally, everything is on the manufacturer of the car. You don't have to worry about product updates or things like that. You always have the newer versions, and it makes sure you can lease an older one or you can lease a newer one with newer firmware that allows you to get there faster.
Hold on now. But you don't even need to lease it, because again, if all I have to pay for is the ride.
Well, then there's the availability though. So, for example. If it's Uber and it's midnight on December 24th, I don't want my car to work. I don't want to be waiting for a bus that doesn't get there on New Year's Eve or something like that. So there's still the value of having your own car. I walk to work. I still have a car because I still want to get to places.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so what about this? So let's say you actually like driving cars. Do you still buy a car with autonomous mode on it?
Why wouldn't you?
Like, do you think they're going to put autonomous mode on on the Corvette or on like the Porsche 911? Because I have a hard time seeing. There's going to be
cars without it and cars that do. There's still cars that literally aren't available in automatic transmission. So is that
a requirement?
It's not a requirement, but
you don't think? I mean, think about it. You got the autonomous Ferrari. And the autonomy does the flappy paddle gearbox for you?
No, there's probably not going to be autonomous like supercars.
Do you think you can put autonomous into like autonomous race mode, where it revs it for you to make you feel better about the car you bought?
Hal 8000 in the NASCAR 500 in Indianapolis has one. I am happy. It'd be terrible.
Yeah, we're just gonna watch NASCAR. Just won't have drivers in it.
Do you remember the like baseball game where you just play as a robot though? That was pretty boss.
Yes.
But maybe they'll just
Baseball
be
2020.
maybe drone cars in
Yeah.
the 500 instead of actual people.
I don't know.
Safety first.
But because I don't know, like we were talking about this earlier, and you talked about, well, would you have the autonomous mode in your sports car? And I was like, I don't think I'd want that. But
So you have a pretty glorious sports car, right?
so I own a Lotus Exige. I love it. It is the favorite possession I own.
It's your baby.
It is my baby. And I thought about it, and at first I was like, no way. I don't want it. It would ruin the purity of the car. Plus, actually in that car, I still don't think I'd want it because it would add a bunch of weight to the car, which the whole point of that car is that it's lightweight.
Maybe in the future it won't.
But, hold on, if on a Grand